Hello. How are you?
Hi. Very well.
Yeah.
So I'm
Hello.
so excited to be with all of you and to talk about my deck and to talk about the cards. And it's really a pleasure to have all of you here today. And thank you for coming. So everybody, there's a lot of unboxing happening on the internet about my box and the cards, but there are a couple of things that nobody's noticed. So the first thing I want to tell you, yes, the box is really hardy, but it has 2 inches of spare space in it. Okay, I mean, most of you would wonder why is it so much space in the deck in the box. So the answer to that is that you can put your things inside. Like I put, like, for instance, I have put there's a small little statue of Ganesh, there's a crystal, and there's my chakra dowser as well. So I always keep this within the box. So that's the reason why the box is slightly bigger. Then there's another thing that I want to tell all of you is that the look of the book, all the pages, is in old parchment. So, it's that little effect that I love about the book. So I thought I must point this out. So anyway, today we are going to be discussing the Fool card and the Magician. And I'm going to tell you how the card came into being. So as I had mentioned earlier that I am an art curator, and I was actually in the process of putting an art collection for a 5-star hotel. And so I had a team of upcoming artists sitting next to me all around. And I told them that I'm writing this book and I want them to help me create the cards. And so I showed them the Rider-Waite, and of course they all wanted a tarot reading, so I did a little bit for all of them, and I said that it's going to be the first ever book of Indian tarot cards, and I really want all of you to help me. And so I told them that I've identified the archetype of the vidushak. I'm going to explain to you what the vidushak means for the Fool card. And I told them the symbols that are already prevalent in the Rider-Waite Fool and how I want that to translate in the vidushak. And I made a little bit of a sketch to say that this is how it should be. So there's one of these artists who was sitting across. He had a paper and he just scribbled it, and lo and behold, it was so beautifully made. It's the only line drawing card in the entire deck because it needs to stand out from the rest, from the 1 to the 21. And it was like a message from heaven that, like, this is just meant to be. And of course, then we filled out the colors and stuff, but it was so pat that, I can't even tell you how beautifully and instantaneously the card came into being. So anyway, today I'm going to explain to you why the vidushak and what are the symbols that are parallel to the Rider-Waite. So the Fool is the 0 card. It symbolizes a journey into the self. The Fool is a spirit in search of an experience. Now, the vidushak card in Indian mythology is akin to a wandering minstrel performer. Now, in the olden days, it was very important to have a court jester in the court, and he was the only one who was allowed to mock the king, abuse the king, imitate the king's mannerisms, and make light of all the royal declarations and decisions. So the vidushak is actually his whole demeanor is about inquiry into himself, inquiry into the world. So that is the significance of the vidushak card. So also the vidushak, the Natgiri, as we call him in Indian mythology, is a jester. And the jester is trying to tell you that all the world is a stage and you got a role, so just play it to its best, right? So, okay, now I'm going to tell you a couple of things, the parallelism. So, for every card, I love symbols. I love Egyptian symbology. I think I should have been a symbologist at some time in my life. So, I love the symbols and I would study the symbols, each one of them, and I had a list. And I would say, how do I create symbols in the Indian deck that are parallel and have the same meaning? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Okay. So let me tell you what. Okay, so you see the stance of the vidushak. Let's begin with that. The vidushak's looking up into the sky, and why is he looking up in the sky? Because the sky is open to you. It has all the potential in the world. You just have to tap into it. So that's the stance of looking up in the sky. The number of the zero card. The zero card is Shunya in Indian mythology, and it has no beginning, it has no end. It's a continuum of life. So that is the similarity, and the vidushak also is looking up as though he's embracing the universe. And he wants to imbibe the values and elevate himself from a human being to a conscientious human being. That's the significance of being a seeker in the vidushak in Indian mythology. So it's basically cherish, nurture, and nourish the life that gives you such values. It's a journey from being a zero to a superhero. Okay, now if you look at the Rudraksh, okay, the Rudraksh in the vidushaks, in this line drawing, what does it stand for? It's similar to the staff, the stick that the jester has. Okay, the Rudraksh stands for the teardrops of Shiva. Okay. So, and as the name implies, Lord Rudra's teardrops, they bear the weight of the universal, individual, and cosmic consciousness. So that's the similarity between the staff and the Rudraksh. Okay. So we have the percussion instruments that the vidushak holds in his hands, which is the damru and the kartal. These are, this I thought represented the white rose and the purity of the spiritual purity of the white rose. So that is what I tried and made a parallel of. And the yellow and orange colors are the colors of the second chakra and the solar chakra. The yellow colors and the orange colors, and they're all about emotions, creativity, sensitivity, holding your own in life, and coming, celebrating what is yours, and coming to your own as an individual. These are the colors of the two chakras. So more or less, I think if you can understand, this is the parallelism of the vidushak card, which is a natkari. And if you hear, you have, even in the Mahabharata, you have a vidushak song. And it's talking about all the questions, the spiritual questions, the questions of the Mahabharata, which are very pertinent. So you must sometimes go and listen to that song. So this is basically the vidushak. Now I move over to Bev and to Vinayak. Bev, tell me, what did you experience when you looked at the vidushak? Could you sense all of this?
Yes, absolutely, because I've worked a few times with the Fool. But because it was a line drawing, it made me, it was a little difficult at first when I saw it. And it is interesting to know about the musical instruments because on first glance, your Western mind goes, oh, that looks like something else. So, it's very interesting to look at that. But I just loved what we said before about them looking at the birds, what you said before,
I must
the
tell you.
birds of freedom. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't bring that. I forgot. Yes.
No, I
The
know.
birds
That's
of
why I thought
freedom.
I'd.
Yes. Thank you
But
so
no,
much. Yeah.
I absolutely love those birds in this particular card because for me, jumping off a cliff with a Fool card naturally is a bit scary for some people, but it gives that sense of freedom that we've got to trust that we're going to be safe. So seeing this in this particular just captivates that feeling of, you can fall into the air and be very, very safe. So that to me is just so poignant. It's just special to this particular card, and that's what I really like it. And I'm so glad you explained last time about that. Definitely. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing it up.
No, it's an important aspect because, like you say, he's looking up, and when it's funny, in every religion and culture we always look up, but it's just all around us, in us, everywhere. It's down, it's up, it's there is no direction. But when we do look up, we are as
It's
humans.
a particular stance. Yes, it's like you're a conduit.
Exactly.
Yes.
Everybody understands it.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
Vinayak, you want to add something about your impression of the Fool card?
Actually, yeah, when I first got these cards, I feel that this is something called Janeu. If something like that, I felt a little bit of line.
It's actually just a big. For me, it was a Rudraksha mala.
Yeah. There's another very light line which goes. So I made it out. I made it out as a youth, a person who is very young. So Janeu is
Sorry about that. It's cat.
It's done when males are quite young. So it shows that he's done that and he's ready to get into the world and explore the world, like in Hindu culture it happens.
That makes sense as well. Yes.
Yeah. So and actually his aspiration to fly with the birds. Like freedom is definitely there, but aspiration to fly amongst those birds is also.
And you're right that he's a young young monk, and the exuberance of the youth, the exuberance of an adventure, the exuberance of life, it's all there in the simple Android. Yes.
Yeah. So
okay, just sorry.
So I was just going to say, it's interesting about the musical instruments because we do use voice in prayer. We do use voice into our mindset and our heart. So having the musical instrument is really interesting in your particular pack because we do need to be heard. We do need a voice and our inner voice, outer voice. So it's good that you've got the two musical instruments there. And we always use parallels, yin and yang, and that's very much what one could read in this particular card as well. Yeah.
So great. So I think we move to the other card today, which is Usha,
a beautiful
magician.
card.
Yes.
Usha.
Okay, so this, of course, is such a beautiful card. I love it. It's one of my favorite cards as well. Actually, each one of them is. So I'm not going to have to say that for each one. Okay. So as we all know, okay, let me tell you something that, if you all notice, this is a very interesting deviation from the fact that most magicians in most of the decks, even the Rider-Waite, are all men. But I have a woman as a magician over here. So, in fact, you must be knowing the Eclectic Tarot Forum, Adam McLean's. So there's a thread running in that forum, and I remember somebody asking me, how is it that your magician is a female energy when most of them, in most of the decks? And so now I'm going to explain to you why I chose Usha, Dawn, as the magician archetype. So to begin with, let me tell you that Usha is Dawn, okay? And she is one of the most exalted goddesses in the Rig Veda, almost as important as the three male Vedic deities, Agni, which is fire, Soma, and Indra. Okay? There are 42 hymns dedicated to Usha in the Rig Veda. You also have the Usha Stotam.
Oh.
So, and she is portrayed as this beautiful, adorned young woman, resplendent in red. She brings in the sun god, Surya, every morning. And what does she do? The whole world seems to light up, okay? And she's depicted as one who brings life to all life, brings breath to all breaths. And she's revered as the deity who revives the earth each day, drives away chaos and darkness, and sets things in motions and sends all living beings to their duties. So isn't she magical? And so that is why I chose to have Usha as the magician. Okay? Now I'm going to compare a couple of things that are common in the magician and Usha. So you see the symbol of infinity on the magician, and you see the right hand is up and the left hand is pointing down. So the right hand is like a conduit to the universe, and the left is like a connection that you can get anything you want from the universe, because you are divine beings, and you have the ability, you're alchemists, you have the ability to make anything happen. So, you all must have heard of Rhonda Byrne's The Secret, okay? Where if you put in an intention, the universe will make that happen. And that's the role of a magician, that you have the skills, the knowledge, and the capabilities. You have everything on your fingertips. You can make your dreams come true. So that is what Usha does. Okay? So I'm just going to bring out a few things. The halo is the parallel symbol to the infinity, okay, which is on top of the magician's head.
Mm-hmm.
And in the halo or the circle are all the elements, the control of all the four elements: air, water, earth, and fire. Okay? In front of the magician in a Rider-Waite, if you can show, you have all the four suits which stand for all the four elements. That's the similarity. The red sari is the red cloak of the magician, and it has little flowers in it. Okay? So that is how I've tried to make a parallelism between the Rider-Waite and my Usha, which is the magician. So basically, it's, I just wanted to say something. Okay, now I always feel that, when I've done readings for CEOs or entrepreneurs, I've always noticed I get a magician card, So I guess they have the power to make things happen for them. It's uncanny. I always pull up. Mostly I see that happens. So this is what a magician is. And this is the meaning of the magician. And this is the significance of Usha. So over to you. You can tell me what you thought about.
I think from what you've pointed out before about who Usha is, I've got a greater, more understanding at just the magic of a sunrise. I mean, that was so beautiful, that video you shared with us before. And to look at the colours and the alchemy going on is exactly what a magician does. And you can look at this card. I know you've explained it as a halo or an aura around the magician, Usha, But you can also see it as a vortex that you can change time and space, because that's a humanistic quality, time and space. So for the magician, they can move through time and space to make things happen in the future, in the past, in the now. And that's what that really does. I mean, zoom, when you hold it up like that, it just looks like one of those black holes that we notice on sci-fi movies. So it's true. And yes, I think some tarot deck creators have put females in as a magician in the modern era. But traditionally, you're quite right, it's been a very masculine art. When let's look at it, our change, our creativity has to go on the inside, and especially when we tap into our intuition and change inside, that's a very yin thing. So, yeah, and the red is traditionally the yin and the white is the yang, so you've got that brilliant. I love it. And when you hold it up on the camera, it looks golden red. Great symbolism for prosperity. You can create your own prosperity. Job done.
And
fantastic
you have all
card.
the 4 elements within you.
Of course you do. Otherwise we wouldn't understand it.
Yes. And we're like alchemists. So
Absolutely. And that's what a magician is. Absolutely. So you say it's your favourite card and they all are, but let's face it, we need the magician in our life, especially in this current era. So brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Spot on. Thank you.
Vinayak, you want to add something?
Yeah, when she's looking at, and when I feel she's looking towards her the hands above, to her palm above. So I feel like that. Okay, she has this magician has an aspiration or we can say a plan for the future, and when, as you say, she brings the morning. So yes, it's all about, have that planning throughout of what needs to be accomplished and what can be done with your potential. So
It's like your hand is a conduit, like a connector and the conductor between the divine force and the material world. That's the magic.
That's actually the traditional magic, but that's like what I see when I see the card. I feel like having that thing in your hand to go for it, because she's also in a like flying or ready to take off. So that
it's
is
like a swirl.
The position.
All the 4 elements are like in a swirl, like she's the commander of all the elements, and she's like completely resplendent with the beauty of all 4 of them being within her. She's a creator. That's the feeling that I wanted to imbue in the card.
You've definitely got it. It's absolutely fantastic. We all need magic. We all need the traditional spiritual thing. We've always heard in the Rider-Waite, what happens above happens below, and it's just that law of attraction and bringing it down. But you've got to have magic and belief system to actually do that. Like you said, you've got all those 4 elements. So if you've got all the 4 elements, use it. Do you know what I mean? And people don't know how to do it. They think, oh, well, if I was in the perfect relationship, my heart would grow bigger. But they don't understand you have to have it all and, put your magic into your situation to actually go further on a mundane
level. So I'd
level.
like all of you to listen to the Usha Stotam. Can you put the link in for everybody? Because
we can do that in the description,
Yes, it explains the veneration to Dawn, the affirmations that you can give to yourself, and the affirmations that can help you achieve whatever you want.
Vinayak will definitely do that when this has been uploaded. We'll put your links in for you, definitely. But yeah, I mean, if you're open for communication to people who want to find out more, then that's fine too. But yeah, this is why we're trying to do this, to get whet people's appetites of Indian philosophy, and hopefully they'll look deeper, not only with the tarot card with the magician, but in Indian philosophy as well. So yeah, That was a beautiful link for me that you shared, and I can't wait for other people to see the dawn of a new day.
That's right.
So true.
Bring the magic
and
in.
yeah,
Absolutely. Be grateful
And,
for
Meaning
for
of
the
your life
possibility.
and
Absolutely.
live out all your dreams. That's my message to
Yeah.
all of you.
Perfect message.
Don't box
Perfect.
yourself with the narrowness of your thought. Fly.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better. Yeah. So you can see, people, that these two cards are very important. You have to trust that the universe is there, but you have to believe that you are the universe to create more of the universe. Yeah, definitely. Beautiful. Absolutely great. Two very important cards by a wonderful author, and we thank you very much for joining us in this episode.
Thank you for
Definitely.
having me. See you next week, same time.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much. Thank you.
And all
Bye,
of you
everyone.
can send your questions. I would love to answer any question or any query about the card that we're going to be discussing. It's love to hear you. It's great to hear you all with your comments and any question that you might have.
Oh, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
yes, if you people
Goodbye. Have a
any
great
questions,
night.
Bye.
if you people have any question, you can put them down below in the comments when this session is recorded and is up on the feed, and also on all the three of our YouTube channels. You can go there and drop a comment, and you will be answered short soon enough. You don't need to worry about them. So this is it with the episode 2 of the Sacred Indian Tarot Talks with the author Kiren Rai, and
Goodbye.
signing off.
Thank you.
And see you all next week. Bye bye.
Thank you so
Why
much
don't you
for
buy a
coming and being
pack?
here. Goodbye.
And buy a pack.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks.